Good morning, good morning. I stumbled upon some wisdom for you guys, and I just have to share. It's some of the stuff out of my favorite book called The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. And it's by far one of my favorite books, and it's based on the Stoic principles, the ancient Greek gladiators and warriors from centuries and centuries ago. And it's talking about how to perceive things as they really are, and how to use the troubles we come across in life as a way to triumph, and seeing these obstacles as opportunities for improvement, opportunities for success, and learn to see the good in things. And see, a lot of times when we get in difficult situations, we always resort to the worst possible solution. Our brains are wired to see the worst in things because of primal instincts that we had several thousand years ago. And instead of seeing things as they really are, we usually freak out, right? You see, our ancestors who were hunter-gatherers, they were getting chased by lions and tigers and saber-toothed tigers, right? So they had to have this fight or flight instinct, which is two polar opposites. You're faced with a difficult situation, some type of struggle, some type of adversity, and they either have to face the ugly, terrible jaws of death, or they run and they push out. And a lot of times that's what we do. We don't see things as they really are. You see, our ancestors had to have this fight or flight primal instinct, but we don't have the same dangers that they used to have. However, we evolved and maintained these primal instincts as we moved into the 21st century. I mean, we're faced with a financial burden, and we don't know exactly how we're going to find $100 to pay the light bill this month, and we think we're going to die. We freak out. And what you have to do is see the situation for what it actually is. Like, what is the worst that can happen? Like, okay, I don't pay my bill this month, or I miss my bill by $100. So what, right? Am I going to die? Am I going to go to prison? Am I going to lose my freedom? Like, that's the worst thing that can happen. Like, you're going to die, lose your freedom of some kind, go to prison, or your whole family dies. Like, that's the worst thing that can happen. And when we're struggling to pay some type of bill financially, that's usually what we go to. The worst possible cause. This is such an important piece to take into our lives, because when we're facing these big life decisions, and myself included, I share a quick story about me and one of my hardest parts of my entrepreneur journey, of me trying to make my dreams a reality. About a year ago, I was really struggling financially. I made the most amount of money I'd ever made in a short amount of time span, and I literally blew it all. I spent it all. Well, I made an investment. I spent about $15,000 in a day, and I was not ready for this investment. And I got to where I was faced with the decision of, all right, I have no money. I don't have the money to run the ads to actually make this program work. So I should not have bought this. I mean, anxiety was keeping me up at night. I couldn't even breathe or I couldn't even take a full breath for days and weeks. And then what I had to do is just look at the situation. Worst case scenario, what actually may happen is I have to go get a job. Like 99.9% of the population have to go get a normal job and start over. I'm not going to die from this. Now, this is the same thing that you should do when you're faced with some type of difficult situation, whether it be with your health, whether it be with your financials, whether it be with your relationships. Is it going to kill you? Is it going to take your freedom? Is it going to take the ability away from you to bounce back and try again? That's the biggest question. And the second thing is to understand that everything in life falls in two buckets. The Stoics say that you either have things that are up to us or what is not up to us. Camera ran out of space, so we had to clear some stuff. But let's see, where were we? I think I was talking about how we have to see things in the two buckets, and how things are up to us and how they're not up to us, right? And the point you have to get into your mind is the things that you cannot control. If the situation that you're stressed out about, the situation that's calling you this mental nightmare, is out of your control, you're not allowed to give your energy to it, because you can't do anything about it. If the thing, your height, you're stressed about your height, you're sad because poor me, I'm tall, wasn't born tall, and I'm short, and I just hate this about myself. Like, sure, maybe it's not fortunate that you're 5'4". I mean, I'm 5'9". I wish I was 6 foot, but I can't control that. If you're 5'5" watching this, that sucks, bro. I'm sorry, but guess what? You can't do anything about it. So why are you crying about it? You can't do anything about it. What you can do is get jacked, put some muscle on you, make as much money as possible. You have to take the situations that you can control, the parts of your life that you can control, the situations that you actually can affect. That's what you give your energy to. If it's not in the bucket of, I can control this, you cannot give your energy to it. It's a waste of time. The past, you have anxiety about something you did 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or 3 months ago, yesterday, is in the past. What happened, happened. You can't do anything about it. Whether it was a bad decision you made, whether it was something you said to somebody you love that you kind of regret, it does not matter. You can't do anything about it. What you can do is act today the way you want to be. You can do the things today that would make what happened in the past a little bit better. You can't directly control the past. All you can do is work on today and improve in the situations in the future. But you can control the actions that you do. You can't directly control how fast you're gonna get the dream body you want. You can't directly control the image that you're trying to portray, but you can perform the actions that would possibly create that outcome. Of course, you can have the goal, you can have the vision of the life, the body, the woman you want, but you cannot directly control that. The only thing you can do is perform the actions that will give you the best opportunity of achieving that final outcome. That's all you can control. The circumstances that happen to us on a daily basis. Somebody cuts you off in traffic. Somebody tells you something that you don't like. Somebody disrespects you in a way that you don't like. Something happens in your bank account that really just ruins your day in your business or whatever. You may not be able to control that circumstance, but you can always control how you respond to it. And your perception of the situation, how you respond to it, is literally what gives it the power. So if somebody cuts you off in traffic and you choose to say, okay, this guy, maybe he's having a bad day. His daughter is dying in the hospital, and that's why he cut me off in traffic. Now I'm not pissed off. I'm not mad now because I chose to perceive the situation as this guy had a good reason, even if that's not true. But since I decided to perceive that this guy cut me off in traffic, sure, I can get pissed off and say, oh, you suck, flick him off, and say, oh my gosh, I hope you wreck and die. I can choose to let that bother me. I can choose to let his bad day make my day bad. But since I can choose to see the upside and choose to see what could possibly be happening, whether it's true or not, it doesn't affect me. We have so much power in creating our reality just by choosing how we respond to things. Right? We can't always control the circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond. And I want to share a story about Reuben Hurricane Carter. Now, if you don't know who Hurricane Carter is, he was a contender for the middleweight title in like the 1960s. Fantastic boxer. This guy was he was about to win the national title and achieve. He already had crazy amounts of fame. He was at the peak of his career. And this guy was accused of a triple homicide, right? Triple homicide. It was completely unjust. We're talking about the mid 60s here. Racial tensions were high and somebody pinned a case on him that was nothing to do with him. He did not commit this triple homicide, and he got faced with 3 full-time life sentences. So the guy got sentenced to prison for 3 life sentences, which means he was not going to get out of prison. And when he arrived at prison, he had on a very expensive tailored custom suit and a $5,000 diamond watch. He looks the warden in the eye and says, I'm paraphrasing this quote, but he says, I know that you had nothing to do with the injustice that brought me to this prison. However, I will not be treated like a prisoner because I am not, and I will never be powerless. And he held true to that. They threw this guy in solitary confinement for not years, but days, weeks, months, solitary confinement. You're in this box, very small box inside a prison. There's no windows and you don't talk to anybody. And basically you go psycho. There's no light. You lose your freaking mind. And they would try to come, they come by, knock on his door and say, hey, are you ready to, conform to what's going on right now? Are you ready to be a prisoner? Basically. And he's like, nah, I'll stay here. He refused to give up the rights that were innately his. Now, eventually what he realized is he's gonna have to give up the suit and give up the watch. But he was like, I will not wear prisoner clothes. So you could actually buy clothes in prison that were not the same inmate prisons. And since he had the money, he's like, yeah, I'll just buy normal clothes. I will not be treated like a prisoner. I will not eat prison food. He did not eat prison food. He wore clothes that he had to buy in prison, but they were not the inmate attire. And he did not eat the prisoner food because he did not want to accept the identity of a prisoner. And when he would be offered things he could do to reduce his sentence or to maybe give him a chance at parole, he didn't even accept it, because in his mind he thought, if I accepted these things that would shorten my sentence, it is basically accepting the thought process that I may be here forever. And since he decided before he even got there that I will not be here forever, I'm only here until I get out, he would not do anything that would subscribe him to the ways of a prisoner. So that meant going to parole hearings, he wasn't hearing it. He didn't care because he was not going to accept anything that labeled him as a prisoner. All Reuben Carter focused on was the things that he could control. And although they could take his watch and put it away, they could take his suit, they could not take his thoughts. They cannot take his ideas. They cannot take his attitude and how he chooses to respond to things, his beliefs. So what did he do? He read tons of books on philosophy. He read anything he could find about law, became a master of law. And he read and studied anything that could help him transition into life after prison, after his time here is up. And it took him 19 years. He spent 19 years in prison, 19 years studying. And he took what should have been the thing that ruined his life. Most people faced with a 19-year sentence, they're gonna lose their freaking mind. Like maybe they'll last a year of trying and studying and learning about law and trying to beat his case and then they give up. Maybe they last 5 years, maybe a decade. But this guy studied and refused to give up for 19 years. He refused to give up his freedom, the thoughts. He went through 3 trials. It took 4 trials, 3 failed trials, and on the 4th trial, he finally got his freedom, and it took 19 years to prove his innocence before he could get out. And the thing that should have ruined his life, the thing that should have took all of his power away, became his biggest testimony, because although he was a fantastic boxer, a very famous boxer, as long as he stayed in boxing, sure, he'd reach high levels of fame and wealth, but it would be within the boxing domain. But since he went to prison and served this time, he turned what should have been a terrible nightmare into a testimony, because now Reuben Carter has inspired millions and millions and millions outside of boxing. Because even if you don't like boxing, you can read this man's book. You can watch his movie. He has a movie on him, a fantastic movie if you have not watched it, by the way. And now he has way more fame, notoriety, wealth, and impact than he ever could have achieved in that boxing ring. And the thing is, a lot of us try things, or we get stressed out for a month, or we're on a weight loss program and we give it 2 weeks, we give it 1 month and we quit because you didn't see the results you wanted. Or you try for this business for a year or 6 months, 3 years, and the business doesn't work and you give up. Like, this dude went for 19 years. He went for 19 years, and since he had chose to control the things that he can control, and he chose to see this misfortune, this unfortunate event, as an opportunity to learn, grow, study, and prove how powerful he truly was, he came out on top at the end. And you give up after 2 weeks, after 2 months, after 2 years of any type of difficulty that comes your way. And humans are designed to be this way. We've evolved to be so weak that the smallest bit of adversity, we give up. We don't give it any true effort. Just like Hurricane Carter did, we have to learn to see every misfortune as an opportunity to prove ourselves, to see what we're capable of, to see the good. You lose your job, you want to start the business anyways, go for it. What better opportunity than there is right now? If you're 35 years old and you want to be in shape and you've never lifted before and you're like, man, it's too late for me, and it's like, I should have been training 10 years ago. Look, it's in the past. What you can't do is say that I should have started 20 years ago, because yes, maybe you should have, but what can you do about it now? You have no control over that now, so it's no point in even dwelling on it. Instead, you can say, I'm 35 years old. I didn't start when other guys my age did. They started 10, 15 years ago. But what if I can start today and make more growth in 2 to 3 years and become a freaking superhero level of a man in this 2 to 3 year time span of me just being dialed in? Imagine the story that will be. Imagine the story it will be to make this type of transformation starting as late as I did. And now these other guys have started 15, 20 years ago, and they look nothing like me now. Imagine how deep that story will be. If you grew up in extreme poverty and you were in the projects and you never had food to eat and you always struggled as a kid and watching your family struggle to pay the bills, imagine the story will be if you can come from that hellhole and rise out from the depths and become a millionaire. You had the worst upbringing ever. Imagine the story that'll be, because you got kids starting off with born into money, born into millionaires. Parents have 6-figure jobs and they're these great people. They got all the resources to be someone, to be successful, to make money, because they were learning firsthand. But you, growing up poor, only thing you have is your brain. The only thing that you have to learn from is people on the internet. The only people you have to learn from is people you're watching videos about and people you're trying to associate with that you don't really know. You don't got the people, you're not living in the house with these people that are already successful. So you can choose to cry about it, choose to wish you had rich parents, choose to wish you grew up in a mansion. You can choose to wish all these things, but you can't control it. What you can do is create the most crazy story ever by coming from where you come from and getting to that level and inspiring so many other people to get to that same level just by you choosing to control what you can control, see things what they really are, and you cannot let the situation steal your power. Understanding how powerful you truly are if you decide to make this dream, this goal, this vision you want a reality and refuse to give up on it. Now, I hope you guys got a lot of value out of this video. The choice is always yours. You can always choose to see things in the way that you prefer to see them that's going to benefit you the most. Don't choose to be a pissy pants person. Don't choose to think the world or the woe is me and the world is out to get you. Choose to see the opportunity. Choose to see what you can gain from the misfortune instead of dwelling in the thing you cannot control. Choose to see what story you can tell if you rise out of this bad situation. But hope you guys enjoyed this video. Appreciate you watching, and I hope you guys come back to the next one. Have a good one, baby. Let's go.